D2 Word Life here with Riptides.
Really? Come on. Do it more enthusiastically.
It's like, fine. D2 Word Life here with Rhea Ripley's finisher in person, and welcome to the Wrestling Podcast channel. You happy about that one?
Shut up, you dick.
Yeah, you said it, not me. But for this specific episode, we're going way back. Was it been nearly 26 years? And because we are reviewing the 1998 King of the Ring event. With the show making a comeback in 2024, I figured this would be the appropriate time now to talk about this event.
Well, this was the only... Well, there's only freaking very few. The King of the Ring pay-per-view ended in 2002.
Exactly. And then, yeah, I know they've done like tournaments on Raw or SmackDown in the years following, but not as often as they used to.
Yeah.
I think the last time we had a King of the Ring crown was in 2019.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're reviewing the 1998 King of the Ring event. This event took place on June 28th, 98 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with the attendance of 17,087 people. I wonder how many of those fans who actually were in attendance that night expected what they saw. Oh, we'll get to that one match that we're talking about.
Maybe half.
Yeah. We get to the one match I referenced to, and this is essentially a one-match show, but believe it or not, there was other matches that happened on this card too, by the way.
No, the main event was good.
So, yeah, the show opened up with one of those, like, old-school high videos promoting the two main events, which is something we don't see in the modern day. They should bring back, really.
Yeah, I wish that they would, because it would be more entertaining to kind of watch how the shit escalated.
Yeah. And then, Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler were the commentators for this show. And we get to then we get to the first match, which was Kai and Tai, which was Funaki, Mince Teo, and Dick Togo against Headbangers, which was Moss Thrasher and Tiger Michinoku. Your thought on this opening six-man tag?
That was very interesting to see the Headbangers again.
Yeah, this match was essentially pretty much the Headbangers and three light heavyweights, or now what we call cruiserweights at that point.
Yeah, and this was before Michinoku, or whatever the fuck his dude's name was, joined Kai and Tai.
Yep. So, yeah, this one was kind of entering a lot of high-flying offense in this one, as you would expect. This was like a relatively short match. It was like only about 7 minutes long in length.
Yeah, but
then again, this was the Attitude Era. A lot of matches were short. Of course, then again, this was the Attitude Era. A lot of matches were short back then. That weren't main events.
Especially for the lightweights, they only had so much TV time.
Yep. Of course, one of my favorite parts was the entrance when Michinoku was also dressed as a headbanger, wearing the skirt and everything. And then after some back and forth action, we seen pretty much something we don't see anymore in a six-man tag, where freaking two partners use their third partner as a weapon against the opponent at the end. That's triple team any way you look at it.
Yeah.
When Michinoku was dumped on top of Funaki from the Headbangers.
Oh, you mean when he was tossed?
Or tossed by him onto his opponent.
Yes.
And of course, the Headbangers and Michinoku won the match after Michinoku hit his Michinoku driver on Funaki for the win.
Yep.
I think it was like a little best way to open the match up, and they announced that, and at the start of the event, they announced that was the first of two bonus matches for this event, otherwise known as Impromptu.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a nice, great way to open up the show. Didn't outstay its welcome or anything like that. Didn't feel like it drug on too long or too short. You know, yeah, I
Yeah.
think for the time period, yeah. Yeah, then afterwards we had Sable come out and introduced everyone to McMahon and the Stooges. Remember the two Stooges he had?
Oh, Pat Patterson and Jared Briscoe.
Yes. Yeah, and we can't
Yeah.
talk about that without mentioning how Pat Patterson freaking patted Sable's ass only to get bitch slapped before Vince cut that promo.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Vince McMahon cut his promo, pretty much trying to get everyone pretty much used to the idea of Kane winning the WWE Championship in the main event, or back then WWF Championship. But you know what? I'll just still call it WWE. That's what we're used to calling it now.
Well, it was the World Wrestling Federation back then, but still.
But still, just for the sake, we'll just call it WWE since that's the same company pretty much. Anyway,
Well, it only took them a few years after that to become the WWE because they're conflicted with the Wildlife Federation. When everyone would type in WWF, it would come up with two different things.
Yeah.
So they decided to go to World Wrestling Entertainment after that.
Yep, so pretty much after Vince McMahon did his little promo and everything else like that, we got to our first King of the Ring semifinal match, which was Shamrock versus Jarrett. With Tennessee Lee out there. Oh, and I'll take signs that you won't see today in the crowd for 500, Alex. See that sign in the crowd when Jeff Jarrett made his entrance that said Double J, ain't he gay? Yeah, that's a sign you won't see in modern day wrestling today. I bet you even noticed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was 98. They were allowed to get away with jokes like that, unlike today. All right?
Yeah. But that match was hella quick too.
Yeah, it was a quick one. It was pretty much Jeff Jarrett. This match told the story of Jarrett working over Ken Shamrock's knee to get to that figure four. Knee and ankle, pretty much. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Even with Tennessee Lee out there interfering. Also,
well, he didn't really have a chance to interfere. Once Shamrock hooked onto that fucking ankle lock, he fucking double tapped.
Oh yeah, and let's talk about the closing sequences match. Shamrock hit the hit the ankle lock after a Frankenstein, I believe it was he used.
Yeah.
To put Double J down, and that's the first time I think that's the only time we ever seen a double tap out. Where the competitor tapping out using both hands to tap out. Right?
Well, that's also the first time we got to see the other guy get punched in the face.
Yep. So Shamrock advances to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament in that somewhat short match. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing a star system. I forgot about that. The opening contest I would give about maybe a good 3. This one about 2. It did what it's
3.5 and 2.5.
Because they served what they did, and we know these semifinal matches had to be short because the finals anyway.
Yeah, it could have gone a little longer, but I guess they wanted to cut the first semi-match short a little bit and kind of extend the next one.
Of course,
and then the final.
Yeah, and then after the match, Shamrock got a little interview with Michael Cole. Goddamn thing, a young Michael Cole, that's kind of trips me out these days. Right?
Yeah.
It's like Shamrock pretty much said in the post-match interview that he wasn't here to be second best, and he's not going to be. Basically.
He wasn't there to follow anyone.
Exactly. And then after that, we go right into the second semifinal match of this King of the Ring tournament. It was Dan the Beast Severn versus The Rock.
God damn, that dude is fucking old.
Yeah.
But he still wrestles.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I have to say this, but when I seen Dan the Beast Severn, all I can think about was you and that mustache.
My fabustache?
You and that porn stash.
Is that a porn stash? God damn it!
But anyway, there was a little backstory to this one. Dan Severn advanced to the semifinals by defeating Owen Hart and D'Lo Brown with submission holds, which in storyline made D'Lo Brown's pectoral muscles completely rip
Yeah.
with that
Well,
innovative submission hold.
Dan Severn was also a UFC super fight champion, which he still is a super fight champion because he still does UFC occasionally.
It's like, yep. So yeah, when The Rock made his entrance, Godfather and Mark Henry are all banned from ringside for that match.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was kind of like, it was mostly Dan Severn on the offense trying to freaking work on a joint or like minute or whatever of The Rock, work over his body parts for submission holds. That's pretty much what this was.
Yeah, whatever. But everyone was also expecting Dan Severn to win that match.
To face
So it would
Shamrock
be
in the
Ken
finals.
Shamrock versus Dan the Beast Severn again, like it was in UFC.
Yeah, but that's not what we got, because near the end of the match, this was also a short match, about 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
Or
back
about,
then the Rock
actually, no, it was
always
about,
had
actually, it was
to help
4.5
you
minutes,
beat.
whatever. It was still a short match. Freaking at the end, referee was distracted by Henry and Godfather again. Then D'Lo Brown came out with his debut with a chest protector.
Yeah.
He hit a frog splash on Severn, allowing The Rock to pick up the win and advance the
Yeah,
final
well,
to Shamrock.
Well, like I said when you were talking as well, is that was the Rock always had someone to interfere in his matches, just like nowadays.
And I'm just like, seeing a heel version of The Rock back then versus a heel version of The Rock back now, I think the heel version of The Rock now is a lot better.
Yeah, well, he had more time to perfect his assholeness.
If you want to call it assholeness, right?
Yes.
But then after that, we go to... It's like we go to, honestly, probably your favorite match of the night, which was Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor, then known as Too Much, the Future Too Cool, by the way.
Yeah, because he changed his name to Scotty Too Hottie.
Who also appeared in one of these retro reviews recently.
Yep.
And they were taking on Al Snow and Head.
Head.
The mannequin Head. And what makes this intriguing is that Jerry Lawler was a referee, all based on a story about Al Snow in kayfabe wanting to meet with Vince McMahon to get a contract for the WWE.
Yes, but it was so funny that everyone, all the people were kept saying was head, 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 head.
Yeah, that's another chant we wouldn't see in today's era. And this one was kind of like a handicap match in a way with a crooked referee, since we all know Jerry Lawler's the father of Brian Christopher here.
Yep.
And of course, back then, Jerry Lawler was also playing the heel commentator too.
Yeah. Well, we all know eventually he got a wrestling contract with the WWE.
Yeah. But your thoughts on this matchup first? And that bizarre ending, jeez. Well, we had some back and... Okay.
That match, that freaking account should have fucking mad because Head wasn't the legal competitor. It was Al Snow. And then he just had his son. God, this is going to be fucking hilarious, but he had his son pin Head.
Oh yeah, by the way, I keep getting the 5-star rating. That Rock Severn match got about maybe 2.5. Because of how short it was, it told the story at least.
Yeah.
But this one, this was just mostly the comedy match of the night.
Well, it was fucking hilarious. I give it a 4-star.
Of course you would. Of course you would give this tag match, or should I say glorified handicap match, that rating.
Why? It was funny.
We gotta talk about something else. At one point, freaking Al Snow had the cover, and Jerry Lawler was like, 1, stalls for like 5-10 seconds, 2, kick out, right?
Yes.
And then when Al Snow got rolled up, he was like, 1, 2. Yeah, what? That's heel officiating right there.
Yeah.
Sounds like something we would pull in WWE 2K24 online, really.
Yeah.
Well, that's another video for another day in the gaming channel.
Yeah.
But then after making a comeback, Al Snow tagged Head. The Head was the legal man at the end of the match.
God, I can't fucking stop laughing. This is fucking hilarious. Every time you're gonna say, I'm gonna fucking laugh.
You're just laughing because of the word head at this point. Because we all know what that reference is. And if you know, you know, and if you don't know, don't worry about it.
Go watch the match.
Because
there was a bunch of fans of Head.
So Al Snow was using the mannequin head as a weapon and everything else. He hit the snowplow on the future Scotty 2 Hottie here.
Yeah.
Only for Jerry Lawler to give freaking Brian Christopher a ball of head and shoulders. and he pinned the head that way.
Yes.
So I can actually say that this is probably the first and only time an inanimate object got pinned and the opponents won.
No, further into the years, it was Perry Saturn's Mop.
Oh, don't remind me of Moppy. Jesus. But yeah, either way, this was like the comedy match. And I know you give it 4 stars because of the comedy. Of course, then again, I need to mention another highlight of this match that I haven't discussed yet. It was when Al Snow and Brian Christopher on the outside of the ring. Okay, when Al Snow walks up to the freaking goddamn entrance ramp and then runs back, why would Brian Lawler just stand there and go, ugh, instead of run out of the way? What would you do? That's logic. Am I right?
Yes.
For some reason, that's the part that made me laugh in this match.
No, also made me laugh was just the whole crowd just said, head, 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 head.
So yeah, Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor won this one due to comedy shenanigans.
Yes.
Yes, it is the comedy match. You, Aaron, you give it 4 stars. Jesus Christ, there was better matches I've seen than that are 4 stars worthy.
It was funny because of the cringe.
I give it about a freaking, I don't know. For me personally, I would give it about maybe 2 3/4, only because of the comedy. See, that's where our line is.
4 stars.
I mean, everyone has their own different opinions on matches. I have to respect yours.
It was because of the cringe factor. Everyone just fucking yelling head, 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 head.
Yeah, and then the next match on the card afterwards was Nation of Domination member Owen Hart taking on DX member X-Pac one-on-one.
No, it's your favorite member of the Nation of Domination.
You're never going to let that meme die, are you?
No.
And yes, this is Owen Hart's debut here in our little review segment channel. So there you go.
Yes. If you guys know the joke, then you know the joke.
If you've seen the meme somewhere, then you've seen it somewhere, right? That's the joke. We ain't gonna post it here. So anyway, what are your thoughts about this match? It went about 8.5 minutes of this back and forth match. What do you think about it?
It was good.
A lot of brawling. They were hard hitting. They were just going at it.
Well, Owen Hart and Six-Pac. Well, 1, 2, 3 Kid. Then he became Six-Pac after.
And
then those two were brawlers. Well, they were both technical brawlers, so they did a lot of submissions and brawling and shit.
And of course, X-Pac had China in his corner, obviously. You'll see a lot of China on this show.
Had, Mark Henry come down and just freaking splash him.
Yeah, but let's talk about those 2 bumps in the corners that X-Pac took. That looked brutal.
Yeah.
And not to mention, at some point, Owen Hart's eye got busted open. It looked
Yeah.
like. Right?
Yeah.
Of course, near the end of the match, X-Pac was on the outside. Mark Henry came out and performed a big splash on X-Pac, as you stated, which prompted China to get in Mark Henry's face, only for Vader to come out and start brawling with Henry, causing the distraction.
Yep.
And then while this was going on,
Because he had him in the sharpshooter, which was making X-Pac tap.
It's like Owen had X-Pac in the sharpshooter, X-Pac was tapping out, only for China to come in and hit a DDT on Owen.
Yep. And then Owen could not respond.
Which gave X-Pac the win, 1, 2, 3. Honestly, at that point, that was the match of the night at that point, but we know it wasn't the match overall people remember from this event.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, I would say this Owen Hart X-Pac match from this event is kind of like an underrated gym despite the interference because of the brawling involved in it. And I would give it about 4 stars.
3.5.
Yeah, for me, 4. See, that's a 4-star match, not the head stuff, the match prior. And then afterwards, after that match, we had Paul Bearer come out and cut a promo. And yes, I'm pretty sure you can do the voice right now.
Yes, I could, but I don't choose not to.
Pretty much saying that that Kane's going to be the new WWE champion at the end of the main event.
We'll win the championship!
After giving a little bit of Kane's backstory. Right?
Yes.
And pretty much ended the promo by saying, laugh at the fat man all you want, but I'll be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
But you know what? I heard, when I was cutting that promo, that kind of made me laugh. This kind of made me laugh, because after he was done explaining all of the Kane's backstory and stuff, he even said, how do you think that makes me feel? And very faintly during that promo, you can hear a fan say, like a big fat piece of shit. I heard it faintly, and that made me laugh. With all due respect to legendary Paul Bearer, he knew how to take the piss out of his character.
Right? Yeah, well, the way that he talked was fucking funny as hell, too.
Yeah. So, anyway, after that,
that wasn't really his voice, but it was how he had to speak for
the character.
His character, for how to be high pitch because they wanted him to be a funeral parlor director or whatever for when he was being the manager of Kane when Kane debuted.
And of course, he also did that when he was the manager of The Undertaker years prior.
Yes.
But anyway, after that, we had only the first of 2 championship matches on this show. It was the NWA Tag Team Champions, the New Midnight Express, I should say, which was Bodacious Bart and Bombastic Bob, otherwise known as Bart Gunn and Bob Hardcore Holly. Yeah. With Jim Cornette taking on the New Age Outlaws, the champions, or the WWE World Tag Team Champions, which were Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, with China in their corner. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of China here.
Oh, you have to say, he was Mr. Ass.
Well, Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, whatever you want to call him. Nowadays, he's called Daddy Ass. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going by what his name is.
Yeah, no, because he always had Mr. Ass written on his fucking trunks until I think that right before the Attitude Era when he had to change his name to the One Billy Gunn.
Yep. Well, this event was during the Attitude Era in that start, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It was all the way until later into the Attitude Era.
So your thoughts on this tag team match?
It was good. There wasn't much interference, but
there was a little bit near the end, but from most of it was like a straight up tag match until. And I do like the callback stare down between Billy Gunn and Bart Gunn looking at each other.
Yeah.
Knowing they were tag team a couple years prior to this event, which we'll probably cover those old events when they were a tag team anyway at some point.
Yeah.
But you know, after some back and forth action, could have gone either way. After working down Road Dogg, Billy Gunn got that hot tag near the end. It was just chaotic all the time. Jim Cornette even got in the ring and got involved also, hitting, I think, Gunn with one of the NWA belts.
Yeah.
Only for China to sneak up behind him when he was getting caught red-handed in the corner, and he gave freaking Cornette a low blow.
Yeah.
Which prompted Billy Gunn and Road Dogg to do a hot shot spot on either Bart or Bob. I really don't remember. But all I do know is that the Outlaws retained the championships here.
Yeah.
So,
but it was weird seeing a young Bob Holly
with that long blonde hair of his that he had at that point.
Yeah, I liked how he cut it and kept it short.
Of course, later on in his career, shortly after that, he became Hardcore Holly with a Hardcore title division. While Bart Gunn, unfortunately, well, we all know what happened to him following the Brawl for All later on in that month. The start of the downfall after he got KO'd by Butterbean in the following year's WrestleMania, which we'll probably review at some point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, either way, it's like this was kind of a standard tag match. For what it was at the time period, I give it about a 3 out of 5. I mean, this match wouldn't live up to today's standards for tag matches, obviously, but you gotta think the time period. It does.
3 1/4.
Yeah, I give it about 3. So there you go. So after that little piece of business taken care of, we had the finals for the 98 King of the Ring tournament, as it was The Rock taking on Ken Shamrock.
But Triple H and China were also out there commentating. She was on the Spanish announce table, and Triple H was, or as he's called now, Paul Triple H Lopez
was on regular English commentary.
Yes. And his shit made me laugh hella hard when he was. He's like, oh, you're not bilingual. He's like, oh, I'm bi everything, but not bilingual.
There's a lot of bi things I am, but lingual's not one of them. Wait, did I say that out loud? And not to mention, after his little skirmish with The Rock, he got on there, testes, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, oh, yeah. You know what you were doing. Of course, that was after The Rock went out there in the middle of his match, and he goes, you don't want nothing with me, fuzzy top, spits water in his face. I'm like, that looks familiar.
Exactly.
I wonder if Triple H looked back at that and be like, I should incorporate that in my entrance at some point.
Most likely.
Right. But either way, what's your thoughts about this match overall? Like the action into it and the story they were trying to tell of those two desperately trying to win the King of the Ring tournament.
It was interesting. Of course, the freaking Nation of Domination came out again.
It's like, yeah.
But
actually, I don't recall the Nation coming out again for this one. It was straight up 1-on-1 here. But either way, it was a good back and forth match, and I like the creative finish. Where freaking The Rock was trash talking Shamrock, only for Shamrock to grapevine Rock's ankle or leg, put him in the ankle lock.
Yeah, and then he first tried to grab the freaking ref, and then he tapped out.
I like Triple H's like commentary. It's like, he's screaming like a girl. Look at him.
That's what led up to Rock versus Shamrock.
Or Rock versus Triple H.
Later on.
Yep.
And then it was The Rock and Triple H, I think, a year later? Or a few months later after that?
It was like about a few months later when Triple H and The Rock had their legendary ladder match at that year's at the 98 SummerSlam following this, because this was the start of their rivalry, planting the seeds.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of people say that the King of the Ring should benefit and rise freaking younger talent back then, which it kind of did. But you gotta think, when it came to Shamrock winning the 98 King of the Ring, who benefited out of the finals of this King of the Ring? It wasn't Shamrock, it was The Rock who did.
Yeah.
And he would go on to become one of the biggest superstars in that era, and to now eventually a Hollywood star who's half owner of WWE with TKO now.
Yeah.
So I don't think this King of the Ring loss from 98 really hurt The Rock in the long run, honestly.
It did, and it didn't.
I mean, did at the time, but it kind of didn't in the long run since he became the bigger star over Shamrock at that point in WWE.
Well, that's because they didn't really have anything for Shamrock for a while.
After this. Yep. So yeah, my it's like the stars I have for this one, I would give it about maybe 4 stars because of, you know, it's a King of the Ring final.
4.5.
It's a King of the Ring final from '98. What else could you ask for?
4.5, just because he made The Rock tap out and scream like a little bitch.
Yep. And then afterwards we go to our 2 scheduled main events. Well, this one was the semi-main event. And this match that we're about to talk about even has its own Wikipedia article. Going in detail how messed up this match was and how infamous it became. And yes, I'm talking about Undertaker versus Mankind's Hell in a Cell match, which was the next match on this card.
Or if you guys don't know who that is, it's Mick Foley's
Alter ego.
one out of his 4 alter egos.
Now, this match, what can we...
5 here, include himself.
I mean, this match, what can we say about this match that hasn't been talked about over the last 25 years? Or 26 years, however long it's been. I mean, this match has been talked about to death on all platforms. All wrestling review channels even talk about this.
Yeah, because fucking both of the wrestlers thought that he killed him.
Yes. But I guess the only way we can do this is go through spot by spot and then give our final rating.
Mankind, Mick Foley even said if he did not turn the way that he was going to land on his neck.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that when we talk about this match spot for spot. No, the match entrance started with Mick Foley, Mankind, whatever you want to call him, climbing to the top of the cell to start up the match up there, as we know.
With a steel chair.
With a steel chair. And then The Undertaker made his entrance, came out, and also went up there to the top of the cell to start off this match.
Which his entrance back then was still badass, and then he incorporated it again in the years later.
Yeah. So the match started off, couple chair shots, they were just brawling back and forth, but you noticed that roof was starting to cave in when they were up there.
Well, you have to think that the cages weren't made like they are nowadays.
Because I believe
that was just chain link that they were using.
Yeah, because at one point, The Undertaker and Mankind went to one section of the roof, and it started to break right through, as you could see.
Yes.
And then shortly after that scary moment, we seen the first bump of the match. That's been replayed thousands and thousands of times.
And written in Mick Foley's books thousands and thousands and thousands of times.
And that was the spot where The Undertaker hurled Mankind off the top of the cell through the Spanish announce table.
Yeah.
That left everyone speechless. And what the hell, right?
Yeah, because Mick Foley was trying to hold on to the cage, slip, and was going down in an awkward angle. And he said if he did not turn the way that he did,
it would have been worse.
Would have been a lot worse than what it was.
According to Mick Foley, because that spot he had a bruised kidney and a separated shoulder, which showed throughout the match because one of his arms was pretty much useless at that point.
He is, but he kept getting up.
But yeah, they did raise the cage to let the stretcher, EMTs come in. Even Terry Funk came out there. Vince McMahon came out there concerned about Mick Foley's health at that point. And well-being, obviously.
Well, everyone, The Undertaker, that's why he didn't get down off the cage, because he was trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
And you also gotta mind you, Undertaker came into this match with a broken foot too.
Yes.
Prior to the match, right? So they got Mick Foley on the stretcher, and they got him about halfway up the entrance ramp. We assumed the match was over, but nope. Mankind, Mick Foley just gets right back up again. He goes, nope, I'm finishing this.
Well, Undertaker even said in multiple, he didn't want to continue them because of how it looked. Even when he put him through the chokeslam through the top of the cage when it came undone.
Yes.
that was a bad fall too, and he was worried because he had the steel chair with him.
Yeah, and then obviously I'm about to allude to that. Those two got back up there. The match was continued, and then we seen possibly the second fall and possibly the worst one. When Undertaker chokeslammed Mick Foley through the top of the cell. Now, according to what the original plan was, revealed by Foley himself, that panel of the cell wasn't supposed to break completely.
Yes.
It was supposed to only buckle under his weight, and then he would just slowly fall into the ring that way. But no, and Mick Foley's even got a record saying that was the best chokeslam he's ever took and the worst one.
Yes.
Considering he didn't have the full power to jump all the way up like he usually would taking a chokeslam, but he looks at that and he goes, "Thank God I didn't." Because he probably would have over-rotated again, breaking his neck and possibly dying on impact.
Or being paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Yeah, but it was also a nasty fall because there was that chair up there that hit Mick Foley in the face on impact too, thus busting his teeth.
Yes.
And temporarily concussing him too.
Yes.
And
that's why fucking the late great Terry Funk freaking got into the match to help him, even though that they were having problems prior to that.
A professional feud at that point. They say he was like, "Fuck it, I'm putting that away." Breaking
exactly,
in the process.
He was also telling when he was because he also said in an interview that when Undertaker was grabbing him, he was telling him that Mick Foley was concussed. He was doing that, all that
doing
crap.
It to buy time, right?
Yes.
See if Mankind or Mick Foley was still conscious and was able to continue. And yes, Terry Funk did get chokeslammed out of his shoes as a little diversion.
Yes, but like I said, he was telling the Undertaker when he was doing all that. That's why it took the Undertaker for a couple of seconds to do the chokeslam, which all three of them at that point in time when he was still around.
Yeah.
He even said that, yeah, that's why he would have normally hit the chokeslam earlier, but he was telling him what was going on.
Yeah. Just yelling at him, right?
Yes.
As you could clearly see, but you know, Mick Foley regained consciousness, or the best he could, and continued the match after that. I don't think a normal human being would, honestly, but Mick ain't no normal human.
Yeah, no.
And then
he get thrown off the top of the cage like that, and then land the way that he did.
Twice. Right? I don't think we would be doing anything like that.
I'm like, I surrender.
And then Undertaker then attempted to do an old school on Mick Foley, only for Foley to counter somehow, and then we got that shot of Mick Foley's bloody smile with that tooth hanging through his nose.
Yeah.
So we know that's what happened when the chair hit him in the face.
Yep.
Then he went up into his gum and out his nose and got lodged and stuck there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then afterwards, Mick Foley went outside the ring because that's where the Undertaker was at this point. He tried to grab the steel steps, and obviously that didn't work, only to get pummeled by the steps himself. By the Undertaker outside the ring. And then the Undertaker also went for a springboard dive, only to eat steel, thus busting him open. Right?
Yeah.
Then Mankind went to work on the offense again, including a pile driver on a steel chair spot. And then Mankind...
And that's when they brought in the tax.
And then Mankind, or Mick Foley, channeled his inner Cactus Jack and brought out the bag of thumbtacks. I'm like, okay, those first two falls were bad enough. Why bring more pain into this? Right?
And of course, he was the only one that got hit with said thumbtacks.
And then right after that, the Undertaker attempted to do a tombstone, only to have it reversed by the mandible claw, which everyone thought, okay, the Undertaker's passed out. Mick Foley's going to win. Nope. Undertaker got back out. Backdrop Mick into the freaking goddamn tacks.
Yep.
And it's brutal. And you think that's brutal? As soon as he got back up, Mick also then got chokeslammed into the tacks. So he took 2 falls and 2 thumbtack spots in this match.
And then Undertaker found a normal spot and hit him with the tombstone.
Yeah, man with the tombstone. 1, 2, 3. But Mick Foley even kicked his legs out, signifying to the crowd that he's not done. And yeah, that brutal match was over. It was done. It was good and over with. And even Mick Foley got a standing ovation. And, you know, even Mick Foley said that you could see him lying on the mat talking to the referee. He was confused. He goes, did I use tacks in the match? Yes, you did. Look at your body. Look at your arm. Then they said they were going to stretcher him out. And he goes, nope. Have I already been on a stretcher earlier? He goes, yes. He goes, I'm not walking out. I am not going on a stretcher. I'm walking out under my own power.
Yeah.
So he walked out under his own power, got a standing ovation because the crowd even respected what the hell they just seen. And more than likely will never see again.
Yeah, no, we ain't seeing like that matches like that back in the day.
I guess after the match, after Foley got stitched up on Vince McMahon's desk back there in his office, Vince McMahon went up to Mick and goes, thank you. You don't know what you did for this company. Thanks a lot. Don't ever do that again.
And of course he does it again.
What other rating can I give? I fucking broke my 5-star rating for this. It's 10 out of 5. What other star rating can you give it?
Infinity.
Yeah. It's that bad. If you want to see violence and carnage, watch this match. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not. And unbelievably, we still have one more match on this card. Nothing could top that.
Well, they wanted to stop that match completely.
Nothing could top that. Okay, if Vince knew those two were going to do that, he probably would have made that the main event. But it wasn't the main event. That was the semi-main.
Yeah.
And the main event was next, and there was that first blood match between champion Steve Austin versus Kane with Paul Bearer in his corner for the WWE Championship.
Yep.
Now this one was basically an unfair match. I mean, look at the way Kane was dressed. This was full force, full body gear, full face mask Kane.
Yes.
So obviously the stipulation was if Kane loses, he'll set himself on fire. We already know they would never go through with that anyway.
Yeah.
But this match, for what it was a brawl. It was an Attitude Era type brawl, which you expect. They even lowered the dang Hell in a Cell structure back around the ring for this match, including a segment where it looked like it was going down on Austin's throat, and then Kane teeter-tottering on the door a short period later. That was a fun, creative spot for this brawl. Now,
Mick Foley comes out.
Yeah, and then, what's your thoughts about the spots in this match before near the end when Foley came out? With all the weapon shots, fan to the head, Austin doing everything he can to bust back of Kane's head open.
Well, Kane had a big fan.
Yes, Kane had his biggest fan at that point. But, it was a standard Attitude Era type brawl. They wasted no time. They went at it harder than everything. The steel came into play. There were some scrapes on Austin's back, but the referee was like, the commentator was like, nope. The referee said, nope, you gotta be busted open from ear to ear. We're not stopping it due to that.
Yeah.
But as the match was going, it got better because there comes Mankind out. Jesus Christ. And he should have been done for the night. I'm surprised he even ran out for that main event to do an interference spot.
Well, I said he does the main event.
Yeah. So he and Austin got into a little brawl, which ended in a stunner for Mankind. And then the Undertaker came out with a chair. And Mankind got up, looked like he was going to be attacked in a goddamn chair sandwich, only to move out of the way.
Chair.
Yep. And then the Undertaker hit Austin in the head, who also had a steel chair, thus busting Austin open.
Yep.
And then the Undertaker went to revive the referee by pouring gasoline, of all things, onto him. only to get attacked by Kane. Right?
Well, the fumes were, they didn't have smelling salts, so they had to use the fumes of the gas can.
And I just look at that and be like, oh God, look at all that gas being poured on that referee. That's about $300 worth of gas in today's money.
Exactly, and I would have sold it.
I know you would. But then Kane then tried to attack Bloody Austin with a chair, only for Austin to counter it, hit Kane right in the head with a chair, which that is something you will not see today. Only for the referee to notice the blood on Austin's face and call for the bell, thus signifying that Kane won the match and became the new W champion in the process.
Yep.
Right. And that was the main event of the matchup. But we all know what would happen next. The next night on Raw, Austin would get his championship rematch, which he would defeat Kane there, and reclaim the W championship the next night on Raw.
Yeah.
Having Kane's W championship reign last only one day. But anyway, your final thoughts on this main event.
It was a good main event.
Yeah.
But it was still overshadowed by the fucking brutality of the match prior.
Well, yeah, I mean, there ain't no topping that match at all, period. So, for this Kane Austin match, I would give it about 4.5, maybe 4 3/4 for the brawl at the time.
4 1/4.
Yeah. So, yeah, overall, that was the 98 King of the Ring as a whole. So, what's your final grade for the 1998 King of the Ring event from start to finish, even though it was basically a one-match show?
A.
Yeah, give it about a high A grade. And that's only because of the strength of the two main matches near the end of the card.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're only going to watch one match from this entire pay-per-view, obviously make it the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
Anything else prior to that really doesn't matter in the long run, because the King of the Ring 98 is only known for this one Hell in a Cell match.
Yep.
I mean, out of all the other ones, okay, the opening 6-man tag was good. The semi-main events were kind of short, but I understand why. The Al Snow versus Too Much match, that was kind of the comedy match, made you laugh, whatever. X-Pac and Owen Hart was a hard-hitting match of the night, brawl for the night. Up until the main events, of course. Tag match, it was alright. The finals, okay, even though I think the wrong person won, but it didn't hurt The Rock in the long run. And obviously, The Undertaker and Mankind always going to live on and always going to be famous.
And it's going to live on in infamy.
Yep. And the Austin Kane match for the championship, even though it was a real brawl, it's kind of like forgotten about, but still worth watching.
Yeah.
So if you're going to watch, say, only 2 matches, watch the semi-main and the main. All right. So that's our thoughts for the 1998 King of the Ring event. So, we know that the next podcast review we're going to be doing would be this Saturday's Backlash at time of recording for 2024's event.
Yep.
But I'm kind of curious. What are we going to get? What retro show are we going to be reviewing afterwards for next week? Since the Backlash show is going to be Saturday or Sunday's upload. It's your time to reveal what are we going to watch next week for the retro review.
They'll have to wait and see, but it'll be a good one.
Oh, great. Okay. Anyway, I guess it's all a mystery. He'll probably reveal that after the Backlash review.
It'll most likely be reviewed after the Backlash.
Yep.
But you'll have to wait and see.
I'm kind of scared now. Anyway.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Anyway, we hope you enjoyed our review of the 1998 King of the Ring, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Nooses.